updates on what's going on at the farm. But today I do have both the girls with me, and the little one is in the back, rib roaring, ready to go, and wide awake and not screaming for a change. But a few things that we got to get done today. Josh is going to come up and just go ahead and feed so that I can focus on doing the things that I needed to get done, because we got to get back to town to have dinner for a buddy's birthday. But I got to stop at Harbor Freight and picked up one of their gas-powered augers. There's quite a bit of fencing that we're going to be redoing in this next few weeks or months that's not accessible by tractor to put in fence posts, and we got to put in so many it's going to be a pain with just some post hole diggers. So I'd been watching that on my email go on sale, and they dropped it down even lower, so we stopped and picked one of those up, and we're going to go take some soil samples in the areas that got flooded in Hurricane Helene. The extension agent here in the county has set up a program with NC State, and they are going to be reseeding pasture ground and hay ground with drones to I think it was like 900 and some acres that they had gotten a grant for to be able to reseed, and I got some of our places covered under that, but I need to take some soil samples for them. So we're going to ride around this afternoon. I'm not going to be up there too long, like I said, just an hour or two, and take a few soil samples, check to make sure there's no calves, and rush back to town. But we'll take you all along for the ride today. Alright, well, the girls are going to hang out in the truck. It's a little breezy and chilly today, so they're just going to hang out in there where it's warm. Josh is feeding, and I'm going to fly like the wind. Got about 6 or so different ones for me to take. So for starters, I'm going to do this field here in front of the barns. It's in the best shape, but it was about 6 foot underwater too. So I'm just going to stop here in the middle of the field and take off with the bucket and the probe. And so once I do this, I'm going to do it in different sections, like you can kind of see where the fence line here is. Maybe the section that's up here on the hill, and it's on the back side of this where it goes down to the river. I'm going to do that section separate as well, because I'm probably not going to fertilize that here in the next few weeks. I do the hay field. It's not going to do that out there, but I will end up putting something on it. I just more so need it for them, and I also want to know what it needs. But got about 1, 2, 3, 4 places got to do on up the river too. I don't know. I hope to get it all done today, but I don't know that I will. If I don't, Luke, I'm sorry. I will get your probe back to you tomorrow when I eat at your house. Well, hopefully the wind isn't blowing in that microphone too awful bad. But made my way around this field here in front of the barns, and got my samples. So if you don't really know the purpose of doing soil samples, if you're not a farming person or an outdoors person or anything like that, so this dirt will get put into little sample bags that I've got up here. I'll show you that in just a second. And it's going to get sent off to a laboratory, and they run some tests on it, and when it comes back it'll be able to tell me all sorts of information about the soil, about the nutrition that's in the soil, or the nutrients that are in the soil, and will tell me, you know, when it comes time to buy fertilizer for this in the next couple weeks, what do I need to be buying to put on it, so I'm not wasting money and wasting time. If it needs more potash and I'm putting more something else and not the potash, then you know, then I'll know. But anyways, like I did say before, I'm going to do this section over here separate. It's already almost 5:30. So we'll get as much done as we possibly can. Guess I could leave the probe with Josh and let him finish it tonight, and then I can worry about getting it to Luke in the morning if he needs it. I don't know. We'll see. If you look up here behind the barns, I don't know how far you can see, but that woods line that you see back there behind the barns is one of the sections of fence that we're going to be redoing this summer. So all the fence around this field, if you're a first-time viewer or you've not been watching these videos for a long time, so when the hurricane came through, where I'm standing, I'd be completely underwater. If you look at that barn and you look at the windows on the right and left-hand side of the front door there, the water came up right at level with the bottom of those windows. So there's a whole lot of stuff that got washed off of here, a whole lot of stuff that got washed in here, and that's one of the main purposes of doing this. But all the fence that's around this field, all the fence that's around here is new, because we had to completely redo it because the other fence got completely washed away. And the section up there above the bridge, not above the bridge, I can't talk, got too many irons in the fire today. The section up there above the barn, that section of fence is still old, janky fence, but on top of being old and janky, if you can see those trees back there along the hillside, they just got demolished between the hurricane and the ice storm that we had about a month ago, a little over a month ago. Between those two things, there's there's probably at least 10 gargantuan trees on top of the fence. And it needed to be redone anyways, but now, more than ever, it's got to be redone. And so when we go back to redo it, we're going to be redoing it with the same kind of fence that we've got here around this field, and that's going to be the high tensile electric. It's easy to put up, it's the cheapest to do, so that's what we're going to do. And I don't know, we've kicked around the idea of just doing barbed wire there. There is a place back here behind the house that I am going to be putting up just a barbed wire section, because it doesn't necessarily have to be hot, and that piece up there doesn't either. It would just be nice for all of it to be the same thing here around the house. So there must be another tree on the fence up there where Josh is at, because I hear him running the chainsaw. We've got them down everywhere. If you watched the last video, the tree that fell on the trailers, we did get that completely taken care of, and it's out of the way and gone. And but there's 40 more like it all around this place. And something I did pick up a couple weeks ago that I'll have a video of here soon is a new saw. For about the last 8 years or so, I've had just a little, it's not a bad saw, it's perfect to keep on the back of the side by side here, just for, you know, random things that might be in your way. But as far as big stuff, my saw that I've got just won't do it. And so I did pick up a new saw, and I'm going to do a video on that here in the next week or so, just whenever I get time, which time has been slim here lately. This has been my first week back at school since having little Lucy, and between coming up here, taking care of them at home, and going to school, there's not much time. So as you can tell, this section down here next to the river, the closest section to the river here, is the worst. It's full of sand and silt and trash, and it's got to be cleaned up. It's just that we've had 7,000 things be messed up that needed to be cleaned, and that's just not happened yet. So I'm going to get these spring gates down so I don't get shocked trying to get through here, and we will knock this one out pretty quick. It's just a small section, but I'm going to tie in that piece over there in with it. But this is one of the sections that we'll get that'll get reseeded by the drones. So you can kind of see from here in the distance, right here at the tip of my finger is where the river is, and it kind of follows these trees that you see here. So it goes around that field that we were just in and on out in front of the house here. So to put into perspective, and that window's about between 5 and 6 feet is where it came to on the barn. Right underneath those windows is where the water line came to, and every bit of this was underwater, and the water came up to this rock here. So it came around behind the barns and up to this rock. This was the farthest point that it made it. But it's kind of hard to wrap your head around, or at least it is for me, because we are a good distance from the river. From here to where the river is there, I guarantee you it's at least 250, 300 yards at least. It's crazy, but it's left a mess that seems like we're still trying to even just make a dent in. But hopefully this will help us out a little bit. So something I was just thinking about as I was reaching in my pocket to grab it is a radio that I got. And if you've watched my previous videos, you know that I like radios, but have no idea how to pronounce this. I think it's got a Gasui or something like that. It's some Chinese, Japanese knockoff little radio that's actually pretty nice, and it comes in at a nice price point. I think in the future I will be doing a video on that, because there is a certain type of person that would be looking for something like this, and it's a pretty decent one. So here's those bags I was talking about. It's just a brown paper bag, and once you break up your soil samples, little cores, and you mix your bucket all up so everything's good and mixed up, you just fill it up to the line, fill out the info on the front, and it does give you some pretty handy information. And you know, it's not that expensive to do. It's like $3 a sample, I think. About $3, somewhere in there. And it's not something you have to do every year. I mean, for us, you don't need to do it every year. There are some types of farming where I guess you do need to do it every year, but for what we need, we can get by not doing it every single year. But it is handy. So this one's going to be sent off soon. Well, I'm out here kind of in front of the bridge, and just as I expected, carrying around a bucket around these folks here, it's not the grandest idea, because they're just going to follow me around the field now. So I am going to do this one in two different sections, because one section of it is kind of split up by a big steep bank, and that big steep bank from there down was flooded, and from the bank up was not. But this upper section we do cut for hay, and it needs to be checked anyway, so I'm going to do it as well. But I'm going to start on this upper section here. I am anxious to see how these come back for this field. I don't know if you can tell by looking back there behind of me, but if you've watched any of my recent videos when I'm out here feeding, you kind of know the process. But if you have not, been unrolling the hay this year. Where it's so sloped, it's been pretty easy just to pull the top of the field and cut the strings and let it roll down, and it seems so much nicer. There's not huge muddy rings all over the field, and it just the manure's all scattered everywhere, as you see right through here. It's like that throughout the whole field. So I'm anxious to see how it does this year. The bull is just real confused. Why on earth are you walking around with a bucket and I'm not getting anything, he says. I did see in my memories on my phone that we did get him a year ago today. Let me turn you around here. So if you have ever gone to any App State football games and seen sorry, I got sidetracked. If you've ever gone to any App State football games, seen an advertisement for Goddard Family Farms, the official beef of the Mountaineers. Well, that's where that guy came from. I used to work for Derek, and he let me know that he was having a sale, and I didn't get to go to the big sale that they had, so I just went out to his place after the sale and we got him. And I'm glad we got him when we did, because the way prices are right now, getting a bull like that, holy crap. Just getting a bull like that at a basic livestock auction is ridiculous. So we're gonna make him last. Well, in typical fashion, I ran out of time. All right, well, day 2 of trying to get this done, and the wind today makes the wind yesterday look like a normal light breeze, because it is ripping. I think what I saw earlier was like 22 miles per hour or so, but it is a gorgeous day. There's not, well, I was about to say there's not a cloud in the sky. I lied, there's one. So, don't have the girls with me today, and Josh isn't up here today either. I'm not going to stay too awful long. I want to spend a little bit more time with the girls at the house today. So I'm going to try and get bale hay put out and get this last field's soil sample done just as quick as I possibly can. So probably not going to do a ton of filming today, just because I need to get out of here. But it's going to be a little repetitious to what I was doing yesterday anyway, so not a whole lot that you have to see today. But here we go. Let's get this thing rolling. up here. I don't even really know if this place is going to be all that important to get done, because I don't think there's any hope that I will get this section taken care of in time to cut it for hay. I just don't. If you look right here at the ground, probably gonna have a hard time hearing me now, but the whole field's just covered in rock. So I don't know what the route is to try and get all that out of here. Just like right here where I'm standing, I don't know if you can see it from here, but kind of at the tip of this probe, there's river rock laying everywhere. So I don't know. Maybe we can at least get it reseeded for maybe the cows to come and graze it, if anything. Don't know. But I'm gonna go ahead and get these soil samples done real quick, and then we'll get on out of here. Well, I am finally out of the wind. Jeez Louise, that is terrible. Whenever I went up there to do those soil samples, I'd set the camera up on a tree that's laying in the middle of the hay field, and whenever I came back to pick it up, it was laid on the ground. So who knows if anything's on there or not. But down there, the more I walked through that place, the more I realize how much work has to be done down there after the hurricane. So there's probably 4 or 5 extremely large trees that have got to be cut and moved that are laying there. But the amount of rock and sand, that field by far is the worst. I mean, this section that I started with in this video doing the soil samples at, it had a lot of sand in it, okay, but that up there is rock. And David and Brantley in this field over here on the other side of the river here, it was kind of the same way. It's got a lot of rock in it too, and they've been trying to figure out ways to try and get it all up, and they tried a rock rake, and it did some good, but still is not doing what it needs. So I don't really know what we're gonna do. I've reached out to a company that I found that had a rock picker, had like a little basket that would slide along the ground, and as the fingers caught the rocks, it would push them up into a little container and catch them for you. But there's just so much. I don't even know if something like that would work. Don't know. The problem with the ones here in their field that I'm in now is they're small. They're, golf ball to baseball sized. The ones that were up there at the brown place that I just left, there were some in there that were the size of, like a big beach ball or something. I mean, there's rock in there. There's a fence post right here that I may drive over. I better get it before I put a hole in a tire. I'm gonna go ahead and end this thing here, but what I was saying, the rocks up there are just terrible. But folks, hopefully we can continue to do some videos here, but time is very slim, and the time that I spend up here is not going to be as long as it used to be, because I got other things that are more important now. So this is still important, and it still has to be done, but it's just going to be a few times, here and there, that I'm going to be able to bring the camera with me. So A lot of things coming up, big projects, a lot of small projects, and we'll try to include you in all the ones that are going on. But we appreciate you watching. I'll see you on the next one.